Welcome to week 10 of our At Home and Now Prosper pilgrimage, after focusing on 9 of the character strengths. There is no doubt that we have experienced a year and a term like no other, and just about every person within our local and wider community has been impacted to some degree. We made the decision to make use of character strengths, which are the strong foundation of our Visible Wellbeing program under the care of Professor Lee Waters from the University of Melbourne. As a Catholic school community, we have had access to centuries of examples of resilience, compassion and challenge, and the combination of the Church's teachings and traditions alongside the world of positive psychology presented us with a unique opportunity that we fully embraced. The founder of the Oblates of Mary Immaculate, who had pastoral care of Iona College, had stated in post-revolutionary France that whenever you see new needs, you need to find new means. We definitely had new needs as we moved to the at-home learning model during the government-imposed lockdown to try and curtail the spread of coronavirus. And so now we come to the final week of a term like no other, and I thought it would be a wonderful opportunity to ensure that the strengths of this term are not lost in the unusualness of it. The strengths that we utilised for the term came from our primary school community, and throughout the term we were able to see that a guiding hand must have been at play as they all seemed to land at just the right time when we needed them. We began the term with perseverance, which followed 3 weeks of significant lockdown and the first week of our at-home learning. We reflected that perseverance was the hard work we have to do after the hard work we've already done. And this character strength was the one voted most necessary by all the students heading into the term, and one that became the backbone of the term. The teaching staff were required to completely adjust their teaching practices in a matter of weeks. This sort of change usually takes months or years, yet the resilience and the creativity of staff made a determined effort to make those changes to work side along families who are asked to care for their children at home during the lockdown. In the vast majority of cases, families and the college further cemented their deep respect and care for each other as we worked together to support the boys in their learning and well-being. We reflected on Jesus' invitation to see that perseverance produces character and character produces hope, and it appears that the guiding hand of God began our term with perseverance and concluded with hope last week. That first week saw teething problems with technology and the rhythm of learning. Anxiety and tensions could have existed both internally and externally at home as pressures mounted in many directions. We found new purpose in the Kia Kaha message of remaining and keeping strong during this period, and to see that we had many of the tools required already within the college DNA that did give us some confidence that we were going to be able to get through. The second week saw the challenge of honesty, which again came just at the right time for us. It was at this time we completed surveys on the learning and well-being experiences and asked each Ionian to honestly reflect on where they were at their journey. Honesty was most definitely required strength, as we later came to discover in the term when the well-being of our entire community would be shaken by the sudden and tragic deaths of very young Ionians. We discovered St. Eugene's call to learn who you are in the eyes of God, and that you would honestly discover that you have great meaning, purpose and goals that lead you towards God. Week 3 saw zest emerge as a character strength, just as we were all wondering when and if school might resume in face-to-face context. It was during this week that we discovered that we would be back, and it did give a boost to our confidence and well-being. We reflected on the words of Jesus that declared that He had come so that we might have life and have it to the full. We started to rediscover the things that really mattered in life, and that many people made life-changing decisions about their health and well-being that have kept continuing. It was during this week that the college community learned about Zach Robber, who tragically passed away a few days earlier, and whose funeral was incredibly challenging given the COVID restrictions. Our school community fully embraced the Robbers and his family and his friends, and everyone found this to be of real and lasting comfort. Weeks 4 and 5 saw the twofold strengths of love and kindness, and it was wonderful to see, hear and feel the great outreach that the school community made. Whether it was in the creation of personal protection equipment, letters to Parks and Wildlife to comfort them in their sadness at the death of Zach, random acts of kindness to family and friends, or the genuine understanding that everyone is deeply loved by God. We reflected on the scientific discoveries into our brain that saw love and kindness more fully appreciated, and we reflected upon St. Eugene's deep love for those in need and his genuine desire to find, support, and care for those who are left out. It was during this week that we welcomed back our senior white shirt Ionians, who came back with a renewed determination to make the very best of 2020 and not only focus on what has seemingly been missed or lost, but also on what has been gained. It is this attitude that would be seen as the distinguishing marker of our senior leaders and set them up for long-term success. And then we reached week 6, which saw the return of the grey shirts to the college, and there was an enormous sense of overwhelming enthusiasm. The tranquility and calm of the previous 2 weeks was shattered by the return of the herd. Iona was once again whole, and energy levels were extremely high. Not every student was happy to be back in a class, but the overwhelming majority were happy to be back with friends again. We again felt blessed that the character strength of social intelligence was the focus of week 6. This strength asked us to adopt a right time, right place, and right attitude mindset, and then even more. It saw the return of face-to-face teaching. It saw some very unusual haircuts, and it saw new skills being deployed to read the scene and the mood of a space. We discovered that Jesus took great care to address the mood of the moment, and at times challenged society to see more than they first thought. We particularly focused on Jesus' intervention in the story about the woman about to be stoned to death and his courageous decision to be with her and alter the journey of all of their lives through love and forgiveness. Just as we were ready to launch into the next normal, we discovered the devastating news that Jonah had died the previous day. This required and continues to require absolute care, comfort and love to all Ionians, particularly Jonah's family and friends. As a school community, we were struggling with the why and the what happened, and we needed to focus on the strength of the week, which was the appreciation of beauty and excellence. It finally seemed like it was a strength that did not fit. But as it turned out, it was the exact strength required. We were all asked to honestly reflect on our own inner beauty and reach out if there was a need. Our words of never worry alone were particularly necessary as we faced grief head-on as brothers and indeed as all Ionians. We received care from so many school communities within our region, and we really discovered that we are respected and a respected member of our community. We came to appreciate the complexities of an illness that can seem overwhelming for people, and we worked with our families and students to try and navigate through grief together. We came to see the beauty of the care and the love shown to us, and we took great comfort in that strength. The next week was the funeral for Jonah, and the character strength of the week was gratitude. We shared and reflected on the great value that it is in being grateful when we're feeling down, and that this attitude of gratitude can help direct us toward the positive. We ultimately shared that gratitude is taking what we have and making it enough. It was during this week that we received the following letters from some of the many outreaches we've been involved with. We heard from Queensland Health, from Queensland Parks and Wildlife, and from Queensland Police. And I just want to share with you those now. From Queensland Health, it said, in appreciation of the supporting Metro Health and the health services with 3D printing of face mask shields for clinical staff during the COVID-19 pandemic, we needed you and we thank you. From Queensland Department of Environment and Science, on behalf of Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service, I'd like to thank the students of Iona College for the kind letters that we received following the sad passing of one of our own rangers, Zach Robber, a former Iona College student. We thought about how best to respond to the very touching letters and decided to ask readers from around the state to reply individually to each letter. And these replies are enclosed. As a QPWS community, we are genuinely touched that the students took the time to write letters to us. Zach was a much-loved member of our Ranger family, and he was admired for his enthusiasm, attitude and work ethic, and above all his sense of humour and camaraderie and his workmates. He is a young man whose attitude reflected extremely well on his family, on your school, and he is sadly missed. And then we heard from the Queensland Police Service Railway Squad. Dear Iona community, firstly on behalf of the Queensland Police Railway Squad, I'd like to extend our sincere condolences to the Iona community and the Waterson family in relation to the recent passing of Jonah. Secondly, I'd like to pass on our appreciation for the flowers that Iona community sent to our squad. Our members perform their duties with no expectation of acknowledgement or reward, and as such, this gesture has had a profound effect upon our squad members. We hope Jonah's family, friends, and the entire Iona community can draw upon the strength of your community and their faith to assist in the grieving process. Again, we thank you for the very kind gesture, and our thoughts are with you during this difficult period of time. Jonah's funeral provided us with an opportunity to say see you later to him and not goodbye. We reflected on the loving care that he would now experience with God, and there were even a couple of moments to really see and hear and feel gratitude. After the vigil of Jonah, which we needed to celebrate given the COVID restrictions, the following rainbow emerged and was a real sign of joy on an otherwise tough day. For those who have faith, this is not just a coincidence, but a seemingly positive message and assurance of love. I feel blessed that I'm able to see this not as a random act. The smile that it was able to bring to everyone present, I believe, was a gift from God and Jonah. We ultimately celebrated a beautiful funeral for Jonah that recognized his dignity and his journey to God. We reflected that life had changed and not ended, and we had a sincere hope that we would see Jonah again in eternal life. We gave room to be sad, but we refused to be sad alone. We were sad together. We also experienced a second moment that could have been a sign of gratitude and hope. Just as the vehicle and casket were about to make their final journey out of the college past the guard of honour, the car would not start. The engine would not click over. And after some initial panic from the funeral directors, I said to them, we're on a hill. The car can be put into neutral and it can roll down the hill. At the end, we needed to push the car out the front gate and use the starter leads as it sent it on its way. Jonah's family thought it was hilarious that the priest and the boys needed to push the car out of the property. I do not believe this to be a coincidence, and it gave Jonah's family and everyone present reason to find a room for a smile inside their incredible pain, and for this, I'm grateful. The Year 12 house that worked at Hemet Cemetery the next day, just after the funeral, was Jonah's own house of Mazenod, and I also choose to believe that this was not random. We also celebrated World Staff Day at the college, where students, families, and the whole community could recognise and appreciate the critical role that staff play in the development of our young Ionians. And then we came to hope, which we were asked to believe is a trust in God who made us, loves us, and calls us to live lives of purpose and meaning for the benefit of others. We shared the belief that hope could stand for hold on, pain ends. The holding on was to values, faith, goodness, truth, and ultimately pain would not last forever. We had a belief that God's love defeats pain. This week saw the formal commencement of our new gathering space, to be known as the Provence Centre, a place where we will be able to formally gather as a community for the first time in over 30 years. Of course, we'll have to wait till the pandemic passes, but we look forward with great hope and anticipation to the day when we can gather together fully as a community. We have discovered during this era that Iona is a community and that Iona does community. It is both a noun and a verb, and it responds best when there is activity and purpose, and that purpose benefits our wider community. The Oblates are blessed to work in our community, and these past few weeks have shown us the tremendous partnership that exists at Iona between Oblates, staff, families, students, board, old boys, and the wider community. Every Ionian has been challenged this term, and it would be untrue to suggest otherwise. You have all been incredibly strong, and that strength is within you, and that strength is God. These character strengths, when combined with faith, provide a unique and valuable opportunity to be ready to face any circumstance that occurs. We're not sure in what capacity we will continue with the character strengths in RE, but we're working on that now for you. And please know that your perspective and growth in faith and life are our highest priorities for you alongside your safety. As we head into the break, continue to work on community, to focus on kiakaha and the love of God. And remember that whatever obstacles are in front of you, the power behind you is even greater. Take care and God bless.